What if I told you that the way you see yourself, your worth, your emotions, even your relationships was shaped long before you even had words to describe it? Have you ever wondered why you struggle with self-worth, relationships, or feeling enough? The truth is, these struggles often stem from wounds you don't even realize you are carrying, wounds shaped by your earliest connection with your parents. The mother wound runs deep, influencing how you connect with yourself, while the father wound shapes how you engage with the world. Parents are a symbol of duality that a child experiences from the moment they enter this world. Today we are breaking down how these childhood wounds silently impact your life in ways you may not even realize. The mother wound and the father wound both stem from unmet emotional needs in childhood, anything that was too much or too little, but they manifest differently due to the traditional roles associated with each parent in early development. Now, if you want to identify early childhood trauma, a helpful approach is to explore whether you carry the mother wound or father wound. And in this video, we will break it down and dive deeper into understanding the effects of having mother wound. The mother wound often shapes our inner world, deeply influencing our emotional life and feminine energy, our heart space, the aspects of ourselves connected to nurturing, intuition, self-worth, vulnerability, and emotional expression. Are we able to express ourselves freely without any fears or shame? When the mother wound is present, it can disrupt our ability to feel safe in our emotions, trust ourselves, and form secure emotional bonds, and ultimately impacting our heart-centered experiences and how we relate to our inner selves. The father wound, on the other hand, typically shapes our external world, influencing our thought patterns, sense of purpose, and how we engage with the outside world. It relates to the masculine energy, the aspects of ourselves connected to action, discipline, achievement, authority, and self-reliance. When the father wound is present, it can create difficulties with self-confidence, personal responsibility, and trusting our ability to create and navigate the world outside of us, which affects our head-centered experiences. In short, the mother wound reflects our inner world, our heart-centered, our feminine energy, and the father wound reflects our external world, head-centered, the masculine energy. My name is Veena Raji and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am a certified trauma healing practitioner specializing in deep trauma healing through science-backed alternative healing modalities combined with holistic approaches. I now offer one-on-one private healing sessions for those of you who are ready to do deep inner work and trauma healing. And if you are interested, all the details are available in the video below, so feel free to reach out and I would love to connect with you. For many adults with deep mother wounds, forming a healthy romantic relationship can be a significant emotional struggle. And this is often due to the lack of emotional safety they experienced earlier in life. This absence of emotional security leads to deep insecurities and sensitivities that gets triggered in romantic relationships. Now, despite being valued by others, whether for their appearance, education, or career, these individuals often struggle with a low sense of self-worth and can be overly critical. Now, by perceived value, I mean that others may see you as attractive, successful, or accomplished, yet you may not feel the same way about yourself. How you feel about yourself in a romantic relationship is a direct reflection of how you feel about yourself with your mother. which in turn reflects how your mother feels about herself. Now, in a trauma context, the mother wound refers to the emotional pain, unmet needs, or core wounds that arise from a mother's inability, whether due to her own trauma, emotional unavailability, societal conditioning, or other factors, to provide consistent nurturing, safety, and attunement to her child. So, as an adult, if you have found yourself struggling in connecting with others in a meaningful way or expressing yourself comfortably, this could have a lot to do with your relationship with your mother. So why does this happen? The mother is typically the first source of emotional safety, nurturing, and love. So when this bond is disrupted, it can lead to chronic self-doubt and low self-worth, deep fear of abandonment, and difficulty forming secure relationships. Now, for example, when a child doesn't receive acknowledgement or validation from their mother after doing something, it can leave them feeling inadequate. They may internalize the belief that they must have done something wrong or that their efforts were not good enough since they didn't receive the attention or the praise that they were seeking. It is often the little moments that shape a child's self-worth, like when they proudly show a drawing to the parent. Does the parent acknowledge and encourage them, or do they remain indifferent, which could be perceived as silent treatment? Worse, does the parent immediately focus on what could have been done better instead of recognizing the effort, which translates into criticism? Now, I remember when I was 14 years old and wanted to help my mother with household chores, I cleaned the house, swept the floor, did the dishes, hoping to be acknowledged for my efforts. I was 14. But instead of receiving appreciation, I was met with criticism. She pointed out everything I could have done better, saying that it wasn't perfect and that she had to redo it herself, which she eventually did in front of me, which only created more work for her, according to her. And she was agitated rather than appreciative of my help. Now, what happened? As a result, I internalized that belief that no matter how much effort I put in, it would never be good enough. And now, as an adult, until today, I completely avoid any household tasks altogether because I know I will never be acknowledged and I will be criticized. When a child hears from their parents that they could have done better and not received any words of encouragement or validation, what happens next is this experiences gradually develops into people-pleasing tendency, perfectionism, and self-sacrifice in order to gain love and validation. As I make the connection here, you can see now how not being seen, acknowledged, understood, or validated can create deep self-doubt. The child internalizes the belief that they must not be good enough, otherwise their mother would be happy with them. Now, over time, this develops into chronic low self-esteem, leading to coping mechanisms like people-pleasing, perfectionism, and self-abandonment. But unfortunately, it doesn't just stop there. These behaviors further reinforce the belief that love is conditional, that they are only worthy if they are perfect, if they do everything right, and if they are always agreeable. Now they learn that failing to meet these expectations leads to rejection or abandonment, just as they experienced with their mother. So what does this do? And this eventually creates a deep fear of rejection, abandonment, or feeling like one is too much or not enough, and results in self-sabotaging patterns in love, relationships, work, and self-care. And these are common in children with emotionally unavailable, critical, overbearing, or neglectful mothers. And this also leads to a difficulty in self-nurturing, expressing needs, and forming secure attachments in adult relationships. Psychology confirms that when you feel safe and loved, your brain becomes specialized in exploration, play, and cooperation. However, if you grow up feeling frightened and unwanted, your brain adapts by focusing on managing fear and abandonment. These early experiences shape your internal belief systems, and your emotional brain serves as the core of your nervous system. So, growing up with an emotionally unavailable mother often creates deep feelings of being unwanted and unloved, and as a result, your primitive brain becomes wired to prioritize survival over connection, specializing in managing fear and abandonment. So when you step into the outside world, your brain remains hypervigilant, constantly scanning for threats, fearing rejection, fearing abandonment, and constantly seeking validation, because that is how your nervous system has been conditioned to function. The mother wound, which is our feminine energy, is linked to the heart, the parts of us that nurtures, feels, and connects. So when we experience the mother wound, it often creates a gap in our emotional nurturing. We may struggle with feelings of unworthiness or inadequacy, shame, and guilt, and this can make us overly self-critical, people-pleasing, or unable to trust our emotional needs are valid, and this often leads to a turbulent relationship dynamic, especially in romantic connections. So the question you want to be asking yourself, which part of your life you are currently struggling with? Would that be your inner world? Where is your struggle? Are you struggling with emotional expression or emotional connection or physical affection? Do you have a fear of emotional expression? You don't speak up. You don't say anything in an argument even when you disagree. You don't speak up during work meetings even when you feel strongly about something. You don't raise your hands to the questions you already know the answer because of self-doubt. What was it like growing up with your mother when you try to speak up? To understand how you feel about yourself, start by examining your relationship with your mother. Do you feel safe in her presence to share your emotional struggles? When something isn't going well in your life, can you be vulnerable with her? Or do you find yourself watering down conversations and giving only bits and pieces of information, fearing that sharing the truth or sharing too much could lead to conflict, arguments, misunderstandings? Or do you fear that sharing too much will overwhelm her emotionally, causing her to worry and feel anxious about you? So as a result, you may find yourself trying to convince her that everything is under control, which here leads you to managing her emotions instead of taking care of your own problem and your own emotions. This is a very common dynamic. Many adult children struggle to have open conversations or share about their lives out of fear of causing emotional overwhelm, and it can be emotionally exhausting because this often indicates that your mother has difficulties managing her own emotions. Also, consider how you feel around others. Are you comfortable with physical affection like hugs and gentle touches, or do you feel awkward or uneasy? Reflect on your relationship with your mother. Was there adequate physical affection, comforting touches during difficult times? Now, this insight can reveal how your early experiences with emotional and physical intimacy impacts your relationships in adulthood and shapes your attachment style. Now, the good news is there are ways to heal this deep subconscious wound and help rewire your belief system so you don't have to carry these emotional burdens forever. I do offer private one-on-one consultations for deep trauma healing work. So if you are interested, you can find all the information below in this video, and I will be making a separate video to describe the father wound in detail very soon. So if you have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe to the channel, and if you haven't already, and leave your comments down below, because that will really help to reach more people and help me grow my channel. I also do have an upcoming video on attachment style and how we can work on healing attachment wounds, which requires a layered approach. So make sure to not miss out on this content, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in my next video.